Happy Monday again. Um, hey, hope you're doing well. I am doing well. I just decided like 3 minutes ago that I should try to figure out how to mirror image my camera view so that I don't get confused. And in the, how many did I say, 3 minutes? Yeah, in those 3 minutes, I could not figure it out. So that's for another time. I also wanted to figure out, I have to put on my non-flashy glasses. I also was trying to figure out how to, hi, if there was a thing for focusing, because on this camera things don't focus as well as, like if I hold something up, it's not in, it doesn't seem to be, see, it's invisible. It doesn't seem to be in focus like it was with my laptop. So I need to practice, but 3 minutes before showtime isn't the time to start. So whatever. But hi, how are you? I had a good week since I saw you last. I taught for a Stitches event on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I've been doing it about once a month. There's a little break over the Christmas or over the holiday. I don't think I've taught since. Did I teach in November? I don't know. So I've been doing that for over a year now. And I taught 4 classes, but there were 5 sessions, and they went really well. And I'll just review my cable class. It was the first time I could it's the first time I taught my cable class in 2 sessions. I used to teach it as a 3-hour class in person, and at the end I would always say, right before we ran out of time, I would say, so if you want to learn these other things, there's some pages at the end that you can do that. I always tried to have extra in my classes just in case. I like how my viewers went from 1 to 4 to 6 to 4 to 1. So just commenting, or not commenting, just noting that. That's just not taking it personally. I should hide those things from myself. Cables. So I used to teach it in 3 hours in person and never have enough time. I never have enough time. I can always keep teaching. So I usually have more in the notes than I can cover, just in case I do cover it. And so with the Zoomy, I asked if I could do 2-hour sessions, and they let me. Not that I have to fight or anything, but somebody left me a comment, but I don't know where my cursor is. It's Bram. Hi there, sweetie. So I taught it in 2 sessions, a day apart, 24 hours apart. And then the first session we did cables flat back and forth and learned about charts and cabling without a cable needle. Some of us did. Some of us used charts. And then the second day I could slow down and actually do cables in the round and with just a chart and no words. And we fixed that would be me, fixed a miscrossed cable. And because I'd never actually taught the end of the class in person, never made it through that end part of the notes that I had in there just in case they wanted to learn to do cables in the round. I had never actually completed the hat instructions that I had in there. So this time, since I had an extra 2 hours, we had a chance to sit with those instructions. And the first thing I saw was, I seem to have gone from row 16 to row 19. Let me see if that's a mistake. And I read through, because I am a tech editor, but apparently not of my own work. And I was like, nope, don't be looking for rows 17 and 18, because they are not there. They're not missing. They're just not there, and I just can't count. And I know what happened. I did have rows 17 and 18 in there, but then I took them out, but didn't correct. And then we'd never gotten that far, so nobody had ever noticed it. Or maybe they did and just didn't get back to me at some point on their own. And I had for some reason not put a chart with the hat instructions, and there's no picture. And so people are like, what is this going to look like? I'm like, I don't know. I wrote them a long time ago, and I had half a hat done, which way back in the beginnings of Sarah's Monday at 5 Facebook Live, back in the beginning, I had been opening all my project bags like one of the first few times to see like, what do I have on the needles? I don't know. Let's find out how many projects. And one of them I pulled out, it was cables on a 16-inch circular, and I'm like, I don't even remember making this. I don't know what it is. And somebody who was watching said, oh, that was with your cable class at Interlochen College of Creative Arts. There's a different name for that. That's close enough. Up in Interlochen, Michigan. And I had done a 6-hour cable version up there in person. So we had done the hat. I had started the hat, but I'd never finished it. So I showed them, and then I was trying to figure out what row I was on, because it had been years. And I figured out that I was on row 18, which doesn't exist anymore. And so I was taking out, had been taking out, like I got to that point and thought, nope, those rows shouldn't be in there. And so I had been taking them out and changed the notes, but didn't completely change the notes. So I'm like, I don't know what it looks like. And so I finished the hat since class ended. So that's what the hat looks like. And I need to make the chart for the hat and send it to my students, because I promised them I would. So it's kind of hilarious because for the swatch before the hat, it's wet, by the way, because I blocked it, or am blocking it. I soaked it overnight. So there were swatches there was a swatch that started with no chart, just words. And then I showed them the chart for what they'd done. And then the next part of that swatch was chart and words, and they could choose. And I think most of them chose no chart. I don't know. I tried. And then the next swatch just had a chart and no words. So they had to use the chart, and all hell broke loose. They were not necessarily, some were fine, some were not so fine. And then the hat, I neglected to make a chart because nobody ever got to it and cared. So there wasn't a chart, and you didn't even know what you're making, except that the title said hat. So people were like, I don't know, and I'm like, I know. So they had the, all different ways. Fran, I didn't make the whole top. Hi, Diane. Hi, Marilyn. I'll talk about my class, though. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, so that was fun, and I actually finished a thing, except only if you don't count that I didn't weave in the 2 ends. So there's 2 ends. That one's in I started to weave in that one. So I have 2 ends to weave in. It's drying. And then I need to take a picture and send it to my students along with making the chart, which will be fun. I'll do that soon. I'd like to do it today. So I taught 4 classes. Also weaving in, tying up loose ends. That's what it's called, which is weaving in ends. And I think I had a sold out class. I don't know, because I had 20 people. They weren't all in the class on the Zoom because, well, not because, I assume because quite a few people take the classes but don't watch them. And then because the classes are recorded, most of them, if the teacher allows it, then people can watch the recording and they don't have to actually be there. So they could double up on time slots and do whatever. So I'm assuming that's what happened. I had 20 names on my list, which is a lot. And I don't know how many people I ended up having. I might have checked them off. Was that tying? Yeah, that was tying up loose ends. Yes. And it went well. So yay. 20 people on a Zoom is a lot. I think I had 13 or 14 who showed up. But I almost forgot to record every single one of my sessions, so that, don't always rely on the teacher remembering to record the session. I'm just going to put that out there. Just had a maybe because I didn't do it last month. I don't know, I was out of practice or something, but I need to get a big sticky. I had a little sticky by the end of that. So weaving in ends, 2 sessions of cables, 2-session class of cables, blocking, and buttons and zippers. And this time I made a, it's in the other room. Oh, yep, it's in the other room. This time I did a crochet sample. My other 2 samples are knit, and I say, she's a little testy because I didn't take her out right before this. So she's like, I really wanted to go out, Mom. So did I. Not really. Um, Buttons and zippers. So I did a crocheted version this time, swatch to sew the buttons and the zippers too. So that was very exciting. And I took a class. Thank you for reminding me, Fran. I have nothing to show for it. I could have brought up my big piece of paper on which I drafted a pattern for a boxy or drapey or boxy and drapey tee. I took it Friday afternoon, early afternoon. Claire is correcting me. And it was good. I just used my laptop down on the dining room table, which I had mostly cleared off, so that I could spread out a big piece of paper, and we were drafting a pattern based on our measurements for a top to sew with fabric. And I wasn't able to take, she also taught classes on actually making the top if you wanted to, and I wanted to, but they were at the same time as classes I was teaching. And while I could have relied on the video, the recording, and made the thing, taken the classes, because I'm not a very experienced sewist, I was afraid that I would have questions that I would need to ask her that maybe wouldn't have been asked by other people in the class. So I thought I should wait till I can take it like in real time. That's what I'll say, not in person. But she was a delight. It was a great class, but I didn't do any sewing. I don't have fabric. I do have fabric, but I didn't buy it for the class. But like, I wanted to go and cut something out and sew it together and see if it worked. And I was really nervous about it because I barely have sewn garments, and here I was taking a class on drafting your own pattern, and I had a little talking to with myself and said, remember that you teach this same class just in the knitting version. I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. The first time I took a quilting class, it was a rotary cutting class, and we weren't allowed to actually cut anything in the class. We just talked about rotary cutters. And then to come back to the next class, which was actually a lap quilt, we had to have already cut out the squares. And like, I was afraid to cut anything out with a rotary cutter because I'd already cut myself in the class just talking to somebody who's holding a rotary cutter, so not good with sharp things. But you can't wind it back into a ball if you mess up. Knitting is much more, or crochet is much more forgiving. If you mess up, you can just tear it out. Not with fabric. So I was really nervous about that. Okay, now that you've finished these last projects, how many bags do you have left? I should do a re-reckoning. Hi, Lexi. But this is not the Monday for that. Good question. I was sort of wondering that myself because I was looking for, I don't know, something. But I'll show you what I'm working on. So I think that's all I wanted to tell you about stitches. I met some new people in there, and I had some familiar faces in my classes, so that was fun. And I was like, I gotta teach all these classes. And it's like my editing. I like resist it, but when I'm doing it, I'm really having a good time. So, which is weird about editing, but not weird about teaching. I think I'm becoming more of a hermit. So it's like, I have to spend time with people, but it's, nice and safe, and they're very nice people, and they did a great job. Yep, I think that's it for that. And I don't know what else happened this week. Earlier today, I sent an email to my organic food grocery store, small, local, shop small, with a shopping list. I can't go into a place right now. I think just about almost everybody I know has either had COVID or had a COVID scare where they had to go get tested. The neighbors over there have had COVID now, as far as I know, and those neighbors definitely all had COVID, and those people had some scares. And I don't know about these two houses because I don't talk to them as much because I don't run into them as much. And that's my whole block. So that's 3 out of, I don't know how many, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I forgot about the house. 5, 6, 7, 8. Are there 8 houses on my block? I don't know. It's very small. So that's almost 50%. I'm just not going back in the grocery store. They were very careful in the beginning. I did curbside, and then I would go in and they required masks, which wasn't really enforced. People were stupid, not the shop people, but anyway, they would take the carts from you and sanitize them between people, and they had the shields up at the place where you pay, the checkout, and everybody, they would wipe down all the surfaces, and then after a while they stopped. They took the plexiglass down. That made me nervous. And then they stopped wiping down the carts, and I was like, okay, but they have sanitizer right there, so you can like kind of do it yourself. And they still have a mask thing on the door, but they say unless you've been vaccinated or something. And at that point it's like, so I've been going in. It's small, I can get in and out, but I phoned it in. I didn't phone it in, I emailed it in today. So when we're done here, I'm going to go pick up my groceries. We'll take the dog out for an RIDE, and she'll be excited. Her reward for being patient with me right now. So that's that. Curbside. Yeah, curbside's great. I've never done like I'm going to say Shopify, and that's not the right word. I've never done a service. Sometimes when you listen to what you say, I've never used a shopping service, but I have been emailing my little grocery store that I want to stay in business. And they call me and say, okay, what's your credit card number? Why don't they just have that on file? Why don't we just get not weekly, that would be bad, monthly bills from like the pharmacy and the grocery store and wherever else we go to often, the cafe, the drive-through. Why don't we just get, monthly bills instead of having to remember to take out that credit card every time? It's like I've never used a credit card before. Okay, that was fun. So I finished a hat, and that was one of those original bags, so woot. And then I will show you the progress I made. Remember, I went back to the brioche poncho that I had started for one of the, well, I don't know why I started it, or when I started it, but I got it because I'm in love with this yarn, and we're not going to replenish it. It's the Owl and Owl Tweet from Quince & Company. We being the shop where I work. I don't have anything to do with that. But I kept going. I had made some mistakes, and I didn't save them for you because I'm not super good at fixing brioche mistakes. But a few days ago, I saw that there were I'd purled where it should have been knit in the columns. And, I'm trying to sort of multitask, and it's not really good. Like I'm watching something or talking to somebody on the phone today, but at some point I didn't pay attention, and I purled instead of knitting, and just got a notification that something's going to be delivered by Tuesday, and I don't think I ordered anything. So I don't know what that is. Words. Yeah, I fixed it. I dropped it down with a crochet. I ended up dropping a whole bunch down because I think when I ended up dropping a whole bunch down. I kind of got 2 of the different colored rows twisted or something, so it wasn't looking right, and I probably could have just left it, but I ended up doing okay. I was pretty proud of myself. It took way too long. And so this is where I was last Monday. So I did all that. That's a lot, by the way, in case you're wondering, because it's not all I worked on. So that's what I had done earlier, and then when I took it back out and started working again, and I put the dangly bits every dangly bits every 40 rows, which is every 4 inches theoretically. No, I didn't do a gauge swatch. Shh. It's a freaking poncho. So it's supposed to be 4 feet long total, and so 4 inches, 8 inches, 12 inches is one of those feet. And then the yarn started running out from the first of 4 balls of each color. So that was perfect timing. And then this is where I was last Monday. And then since then, I've completed the next 40, and then another 40 just got complete. Well, I even kept going. So I don't know. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is a quarter of the way done. And I'm almost a half of another quarter. That would be another eighths of the way done, right? I don't know, math. But it's still pretty. This is my easy project right now. I think this is what I'm gonna wear as the right. This is what I'm planning to wear as the right side. So therefore, that's what the edge stitches are. So there you go. So so I should put another marker in. We'll put a different color. Here's a pretty blue, and I'll put that in. Can you see? Because I can't. Oh no, you can't. No, right there. I don't know why you can't see. Here, I'll put it that way. Maybe you can see that. I can't see that. Holy crap. Anyway, I'm putting in both legs of a stitch. Is that right under the needle? Yes. And then I'm clipping it. Oof. So we'll see how, so that's where I was last Monday, and that's where I am this Monday, and we'll see where I am next Monday. I don't know. I want to get this done because I told myself I would finish this before I started the Calgary capelet, I believe it's called, from Blue Sky, that I haven't started yet, but I have the yarn and the pattern. So which I might just end up starting, but because that's my New Year's project that I've been waiting to do, but as well as 19 other projects. But that's making progress. I'm trying to get that done. That would be another thing that was, I don't think that was in a bag when I started doing Facebook Lives. So, anywho, that. And then, oops. And then I have another thing that I'll look at before I get distracted. Well, Diane's laughing at me. It's, we've talked about this brioche pattern before, Diane. It would be easier if it was in the round, because then you memorize 2 rounds. But it's flat, so I had to memorize 4 rounds. But once I got that figured out, it's, as long as I don't stop it for a while again, it's okay. But I was gonna say Nancy. Meg at the shop has a circular cowl pattern done in brioche. I don't know what the name of it is. That's easier because you only have to, it's also just straight up, and you only have to remember 2 rows. And there's no edging. The reason that I had problems remembering the 4 rows, besides the fact that that's twice as many as 2, is that I have to know what to do at those edges, because there's some slipping of stitches. There's some holding of yarn to the front of the back when you slip those stitches. So in the round would not have that issue, so you wouldn't have to figure that out. Okay. Yeah, and I'd be happy to help you with all the things. So, in my attempt to not be knitting for hire anymore. Oh, this is a good story. So in my attempt to be not knitting for hire anymore, I've been saying no. I've been taking on some finishing for hire, but I'm charging by the hour, not coming up with a fictitious number ahead of time. Fictitious meaning I don't know how long it's going to take. I'll just lowball it because that doesn't go well. So I don't know, a year or so, it was pre-COVID, I think. I don't know. At some point, a woman who used to take classes from me, like back when I taught at Yarn for You, which was in Okemos a while back. So she came into Woven Art, I don't know, a year or so ago, and she had his baby sweater to be finished. I don't remember what it was exactly. And she said, when I got it done, and we were, I was handing it over, and I had a receipt or an invoice for her, and she said, "Don't you remember back when you taught at Yarn for You that I bound a quilt for you one time, and you said that you'd trade it for finishing a sweater for me sometime?" And I was like, "I don't remember that." And I didn't believe her, and I made her pay for the thing that I'd done, feeling very virtuous because I'd set a boundary that, no, I'm not doing this for you for free. You owe me money. And she paid me. And then, I don't know, now, not that long ago, maybe less than a month ago now, maybe about a month ago, I had a thought, why would she make something like that up? because I did make quilts, and it's very likely that I was like, I don't have time to bind this quilt, because I know I made two for my children at one Christmas, and it was probably then. I had no record of it. I looked. Um, I was like, so this is how my life works. So a month or so or less ago, I was like, gosh, I think I should try to contact her and say, I'm sorry, I don't know what I was thinking. Of course you probably, and refund her money. Figure, just refund her money. So the next day after I had decided that, she walked into the shop. She doesn't come in that often at all. But she walked in and I was like, God damn it. So I said to her, blah, blah, blah. And she said, well, that's great because I brought in another sweater to be finished. And I said, I'll just do it. I'll just do it. So there's me saying no to knitting for hire. Not only am I not saying no to knitting for hire, but I'm doing it for free. So that's how it goes. But after this, she has to pay again. So she brought this sweater in this lovely basket. She said she had started it. And another thing that happens is when people from my past, like from Yarn For You days, find me again, they always ask after my boys. And I find that lovely. That tells me that I talked about them a lot when I was teaching classes at Yarn For You. And they were little, so I would have to probably, schedule things around their lives. But I just love that that's one of the first questions people ask me is, how are your boys? And then I have to tell them that they're 25 and 30, and they always go, what? And I'm like, I know, right? So there we go. There are how to finish videos. What do you mean, Mary? Like to tell them to do? Because there's I teach a class on how to finish. But if you don't want to finish but you're willing to pay me, I'll do that for you. So this was a sweater she had started for her daughter to put on her baby daughter. And she got stuck and she didn't finish it. And her daughter is now like 35 and having, maybe not quite 35, but having a baby. And so she would like to finish the sweater that was intended for her daughter to wear as a baby for her daughter's baby, which I think is totally not surprising. And like, I have the big birth sampler for my 25-year-old that is not done. So we could put anybody's name in there, like a grandchild. So I get it. So she's would rather be quilting. She said, I'll bind anything you have, but she doesn't want to finish. She's like, I don't want to finish the sweater. So I'm finishing the sweater, and then that will be paid off for the quilt she bound for me 1,000 years ago. So here's the sweater. This is the body. I put I haven't blocked it yet, but I put the border on the front, and I took out all the seams and redid them because they could have been better. So now they are. So there's a shoulder, and here's a side seam. Can you see it? Whoops, that way, Sarah. And then she had the first sleeve almost halfway done. And I thought, oh, I can't try to match her gauge. I'm probably going to have to do it over. I keep seeing things floating by. But, I matched it well enough that I just did it. So it's got these little pearl flowers as the pattern, which are really sweet. It's a little girl. I assume that the grandchild is a little girl also. So I finished the first sleeve. That got done today. I started the second sleeve. So this is all today. So I'm pretty sure I can finish I'm trying to grab things that aren't there. So I have that much left to go, which is about where I was when to do for the first sleeve. Those were good words all in a row. And then I'm going to sew it together and then soak it. I should steam them all, but I'm just going to slap them together, put the sleeves in, think about weaving in the ends. I have another sweater I finished for somebody that I still need to weave in the ends on. I don't know, something's attached to something. There we go. And then that's done. And I can take it in. I'm trying to get it done by Wednesday so I can take it into Woven Art and give it to her, because I like to hand things off at the shop, even though this isn't anything to do with the shop. But I found a piece of paper where she wrote down she'd asked for it to be done by January 10th, which, oh look, it's January 10th. So I didn't plan on leaving the house today, so I'm going to call her later and say, can she pick it up on Wednesday? And I'm going to ask her, how does she feel about weaving in ends? I might leave those for her if she doesn't mind. And there's buttons to sew on. I mean, you know, so then I'll be caught up with that. And I just wanted to show you the chart for this sweater. It's a Louisa. Oh, look, I have the book. I'll cover that up because that's her name and address. So it's a Louisa Harding Rowan kids book, kids pattern book. And in true Rowan style, well, it's not necessarily Rowan's style. Oh, I can show it to you here. So it's the floor cardigan, and it has teeny tiny little schematics with just 2 measurements each. And then it's got the directions, and the finishing is vague. Yep, it's not as vague as it could be. But here's the chart. That is the chart for all 3 sizes of sweater, which has body shaping and shoulder shaping for a little tiny child, and V-neck. So this is how we used to do charts. It's like all on top of each other. And can you see the sleeve charts in there? All 3 of them? Those are there too. And then the pearl flowers are on there. Like the whole thing is a background of pearl flowers, and then the different charts, all the stitches of the whole chart are superimposed, like the outlines are superimposed on there. And you're supposed to be able to, like, the green is the smallest and the red is the medium and the blue is the large. So you can sort of see, like, up at the shoulders where that is. But the sleeve is on there too. Like, it gets all mushed up in places. And Rowan people, I don't know. But she made it bigger. So that's what I've been using. But holy cow, people, that is not fun. It's not fun. Let's see. Yeah, but Mary, I'm asking why you're telling me that there are how to finish videos, because I'm finishing, I'm getting paid. So this is me paying my bills by finishing things for people. So I'm okay with doing it as long as I get paid. But the problem is, if I tell them ahead of time how much it's going to be, it always takes longer, almost always. Or I end up doing it for free. Because in this case, I owed her from way back, because my kids are, 25 and 30. Did I finish that sentence? And then I have one other thing to tell you that I can remember that I want to tell you. I don't remember if there's anything else. Anybody have any questions for me? I know, right? And it's cotton, so there's no stretch. So, and I know I could have traded these out, but it was a miracle that I matched her gauge. The needles, there's an empty one here somewhere, I think. These are the needles. Oh, I have the package. Oh, and it's really sweet because she had this all in the basket, and she had this cloth which says Curity. I'm wondering if it's, I don't know, like some kind of a diaper cloth? I don't know what Curity is, but this has been laid over it to keep it clean for 30 some odd years. So it was like whoosh, perfect. I was looking for so it's, oh my gosh, she bought the needles at the Skane House, which has been gone for a really long time. And this is, it says Frandor Lansing, so it's the original owners. Anyway, Susan Bates, right? Yep, Susan Bates Quicksilver needles. Okay? These suckers bend. So imagine, if you will, trying to pick up the stitches around the body along the edge of the body in cotton yarn that does not stretch with needles that bend. So that's done. I mean, I know I could have, especially for that part, I could have gotten my own needles out that weren't bendy, but that would have involved getting off the couch that particular point in time, and I wasn't interested in doing that. And then I miraculously somehow pretty much matched her gauge for that second half of the first sleeve, so I wasn't going to switch needles at that point. Not happening. So it was, so that probably is an actual diaper, that Curity diaper. Yep, branded diapers. Hi, everybody. Everybody's piping up. Yeah, so weird stuff I do for a living, except I don't get paid. I mean, you know, and I'm still going to do finishing, but you're going to pay me my going rate, which is $60 an hour, which sounds really like a lot, but that's how much I need to pay my bills. And I'm not a, anyway, I'll finish your projects for you if you pay me a living wage. Yes, and now when people come into the shop and ask about people that knit stockings, Meg and I look at each other and we're like, no, we don't know anybody who does. Good luck finding somebody. And when I watched the Pure Michigan Knitters Facebook group, people are so hopeful, can anybody make this for me by Christmas? And it's, December already. I'm not doing that anymore. I used to try to make everybody happy. And thank you, Jennifer. She says, I'm an expert and that's what I should be earning. I mean, that's how much I earn in my other jobs, most of my other jobs. I will just tell you right now that Meg is not paying me $60 an hour to work at the shop. That's a different job. So there you go. And then I'll just put another plug for my Patreon account, which is a way to earn money because you want to encourage me in my other endeavors, most of which right now on there are writing of various kinds, but exploring creative outlets and giving me the freedom to do those things by taking some of the pressure of paying my bills off of me so I can focus on things that don't earn me money right this second. So there you go. That was a bad explanation. But if you go to I'm just going to put my website in there. I think that's my website. We'll see if it pops up. Yep. Because I have classes in there. The Starsky sweater class is already happening. We're a few weeks into people knitting on those. And the Fair Isle Bowl / bag class is coming up. It's the last. Something's floating around on my camera, but I can't see it around my person. So as long as it's not a bug. Is the last, the Fair Isle class is the last 2 weekends in January. And I could use some more people in that one. That would be nice. I might be getting some more from one or more of my stitches classes because somebody was asking about that. So yay. So that's on there. And then there's a thing on the bottom that says you can become a patron. And if you click on that, you can get hopefully a better explanation of what that's all about. And then also it says I do Facebook on Mondays. I don't know. There's pictures of my dog and my cat. I don't know. There's probably more stuff on there. So I'm also working on my Starsky sweater, but I haven't finished figuring out my numbers to know how many to cast on yet. So I don't know if anybody's really cast on for the sweater yet. There's been a lot of swatching going on. And I owe one of my students an email right now about her swatch, about her numbers, which are probably fine, but she wants me to double check them. So I think I told you last week. So just, my friend Jessie had started a descent sweater back when the descent sweater was the thing to start. And she had put it aside and then she brought it out again recently and wasn't wanting to finish it. So she took it apart and decided to make the Mountain Mist sweater from, Tin Can Knits. And I showed you that, but I'll show you again. Oh, it's on the back cover. So this is the back of it, but the front looks exactly the same. Okay. And you get a guy with his hand on your ass if you make this sweater, apparently, according to the book. And so I pulled out my, oh gosh, Sarah, swatch. I had been swatching for the Descent sweater. And if you're familiar with it, I shortened these, so I didn't do the full chart. I just was doing a gauge swatch. And I decided I didn't want to, it has an extra wide neck, not on purpose. Like, I don't know that was done on purpose, but I was like, I'd have to figure out how to make the neck narrower. And I love how these two yarns play together. This has been pinned to my bulletin board since then. And so when Jessie said she was going to make mountain mist instead, and she added another color, because that doesn't make any sense at all, Sarah. Added 2 more colors, because there's 4 colors in the Descent, in the mountain mist sweater, and only 2 in Descent. But anyway, I was like, ooh, so I tore out, well, I didn't tear out, I hadn't started Descent, but I started mountain mist. That's what I'm getting to. So I'm not really sure. Oh, and I had held up, remember, I held up the yarns. So let me do that again. It's okay. Would be nice if I had a plan. Okay, so these are my colors, but I arranged them like, this is the sky. So it's mountain mist. I think I found the thing that was floating around. And if you look, the colors of her sweater mimic the colors of these are ice flows, but like you can imagine that that's the sky, and those are the mountains in the mist. This is the mist, and then you can sort of see them, and then you have I don't know, the other part that you can see. So I'm thinking this is my sky, and these are my misty mountains. It's not quite as misty, and these are my mountains because mine have trees on them. And then I have this gray yarn. I forget, Barocco Ultra Alpaca. That's not what I was going to say it was, but it's Ultra Alpaca. A lot of it, like a sweater's worth of it, that I was going to use for the body. That's what's on here, the gray. But now that I'm almost ready to use the gray, I'm not sure I want to use the gray. So I started the yoke with my blue. And then, did I do a swatch? No. Well, I have this, even though it's, yeah, I'm doing it again where I'm not swatching. So this is my blue. Here's my Misty Mountains. And I wouldn't go to bed last night till I got the 3rd color in. So that stitch right there is the new color, the green. And then I learned a new thing because I did not want to be catching my yarns in these big expanses. I know how to do it, and I just don't always like the way it looks. And if you notice, like, I think I could have used a smaller needle, but I didn't, and off I go. So we'll see. If I have to reknit it, I have to reknit it. It's not like it's not like I have anything else to work on, right? So here's what happens. I mean, there's nothing wrong. It's just, I keep trying it on because I can, as long as I don't, oh, not with that ponytail though. How about that? That looks good. There we go. So here's my new sweater. Neck is nice and whatever. I'm probably pulling it off the needles. And then Jessie also said that the things, so there it is. I don't like this mirror image bit. There it is. So there's my new sweater. Jessie had gotten some of the pearl strings. I don't know what they're called, but Woven Art sells them, and they're these, it's like rubber spaghetti, rubber linguine, hollow little, and they're neon-y colors, like neon colors, and they're hollow, so you can, this is 16 inches, but you can shove the hollow plasticky rubbery part onto your needle and then pull the stitches off your needle onto the rubbery cord. And there's longer cords and shorter cords, so I would put on probably a longer cord, and then I could try it on without the stitches that are probably coming off the needle. And then you can put it back on the needle the same way. You shove the spaghetti thing on the tip and push them back onto the needle. And if Jessie says they work great, they work great, because Jessie doesn't put up with anybody's shit. So she would tell you like it is. And I was going to throw the balls in the bag, but I should take this off first. Whoop, how'd I do? Did I tear it off the needles? Oh yeah. Just a little. I'm going to put them back on. Oh, and then, whoa, I have these glasses on. And then I want to tell you one more thing about this. Okay, that's those. I don't know. Why do I have 3 green ones? Maybe I did another row. Oh, I did. I have 3 green ones. I didn't point to the right spot. So I started to say, and interrupted myself, there's a shocker, that I didn't really want to do the carrying, the catching, the trapping of the floats. And I knew that I had another option that I hadn't learned yet. And Lexi, if you're still here, Lexi had done it. and shown me. I'm like, and I had learned about it at Meg Swanson's knitting camp from one of the campers whose name is Susan Rainey. And Susan Rainey has a pattern out there. She figured this out. I mean, maybe people did it, but she figured it out and put it in a pattern. Let me find the pattern and put it in the thing. Ravelry. Please hold. Boop. Okay, so let me click on that and then click on the URL. And then find you guys again. Hi! And then put that in the chat. Let's see what other people have said. Diapers, diapers, diapers. Knitting needles. Yeah, they're not good knitting needles. I mean, especially not for cotton yarn. Okay, it says more. Oh boy. Pearl strings. Edie knows I'm not swatching because I talked to her today. So you can tell her, Bram, but she already knows. Pearl strings. Lexi, what color did you get? I don't know what honey badger is a reference to, but there you go. Bram says Jessie is full on honey badger. Yep, and Diane's heard good things about those rubber tube thingies. So here's the link to the pattern I'm going to talk about. It's not about the hat, because it's not about the hat, it's about the technique. And the technique is another way to catch the floats in the back of your fair isle, the long spreads, without catching the floats in the back of the fair isle. And what it is like a little bit of double knitting, magically. So in the front, you can't even see that. Give me some slack. In the front, I don't think I have it going on right now. I don't need it anymore after these guys. So for these long stretches, and then in these long stretches, because that's 12 stitches, and I didn't want to carry them over 12 stitches, and I didn't want to catch them because I didn't want to see little puckers, because that's right here. That's going to be very visible, or it's going to be balls of yarn if I just tear it out. So there's a way to add a stitch by lifting up a stitch between two stitches. So there's some mumbo jumbo for you. And then you have this little, it becomes a double knitting. Mine looks crappy, so Lexi, don't laugh at me. But you have this little stitch that you're using of the color that you would trap, right? I don't know what, mine are so wobbly. And then I did it, whoops, over, well, here. I don't like the mirror image, here and here. When I had to trap the, I don't know, whatever color behind the whatever color. The blue, the not blue behind the blue, and the blue behind the not blue. There you go. And it worked. So you can't, and then it's double knit in a way that it's gonna, when you're done, you knit two together and it pops behind the new stitch that you have. And so it's just completely, that's my yarn. It's just completely behind. Ugh. So all those little things from the front, there's nothing, you can't see anything in there. Nothing's going to show, like nothing's going to pull. You can't see them at all. It doesn't do that little ridge thing or the little pucker thing. It's fabulous. So oh boy. Now I see a YouTube video from Bram to explain the honey badger, which I'll look at later. Lexi's got the teal ones, also uses them as stitch holders. Yeah, and you can just pull them right off and put them back on. It's not like you have to go dunk, 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 dunk through all your stitches. Audrey, look it up. It's awesome. It's like, what? And it's a pattern for the hat. It's wordy. There's charts for like every fucking thing you do to the hat. And then at the end, it has paragraphs of explanation, which again, you kind of have to read through, but you don't have to read through. It has subtitles or subheadings, so you can find, like I just found the thing that said how to start, how to add a new stitch, and I added a new stitch, and then it said what to do with that new stitch, and I read that part, and then I did that part, and it worked great. I was surprised, and then I had to look it up again to see how to end it, because I'm like, I don't know how to end it, but how to make it stop. And I was doing this all late at night. So if I can do it late at night, learn a new thing, and I've always wanted to learn it. So the fact that Lexi had done it inspired me to learn it. Not like, oh, if Lexi can do it, I can do it, but like, oh, Lexi can do it. I want to be as good as Lexi, so I had to learn it. Mary has an announcement. If any of you are local and in the Mid-Michigan Knitters Guild, the January meeting is canceled because of COVID. When I lean my head this way, it looks like I'm wearing a tree, but I am not, in fact, wearing a tree. So yeah, the in-person, they were going to schedule, they had an in-person guild meeting scheduled, and they're canceling that. For the same reason that I did curbside pickup today, because I'm going to do, oh, and it's dark, that'll be fun. Yeah, now I don't know why, I'm not going to click on it. My Facebook Live says community standards in the comment section, and I'm not going to click on it. I don't want to know. And that's all I have to say. So I finished a thing that was in a bag from before, and I made progress on a thing that looks weird, that I'd started since I started doing Facebook Lives, and I threw in another yoke of a sweater since last week, as one does. So I think that's enough. I do need to go get my groceries, and the dog would like to go outside. She's been nice and patient. And it is actually almost time to feed her too. What do I do first? Take her out to pee, feed her, or go for an RIDE? I don't know. We'll see. Stay tuned. And that's it. I'm going to all this honey badger stuff. Yeah, Lexi, I agree. She says it's an excellent technique. I'll continue. I continue using it for long floats. I probably could have done mine better, like started them sooner or done 2 in those. I think 2 would have been a better idea in each of those 12 stitch things, but I did one. And then like it's between 2 stitches, and I had 11 stitches. So if I felt weird that it wasn't right in the middle, but who knows? Who cares, right? Pee first. Yeah, this dog, in the morning, after she's been in bed all night, she wants to eat first. She doesn't care about going outside. So I know that she's fine, which is why I just look at her when I just took you out. You're fine. I'll probably feed her first, because I'll take her outside and then we'll get in the car. A two for one. All right, you guys. Oh, that took longer than I thought. All right. It was lovely to see you all. Thanks for sharing my evening with me, and I will see you next week, right? Yeah. Okay. Bye there. I don't know where my end video is. So I'll just stay here. Nope, I found it. Okay. Bye.